Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Somebody once told me the worm is gonna worm me. I ain't the sharpest worm in the shed. She was looking kind of done with her worm and her blaster. In the shape of a worm on her forehead. Well, the worms start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the worms and they hit the ground running. Did it make sense not to leave the worms? Your worm gets smart but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the worm blaster? You'll never know if you don't worm. You'll never shine if you don't squirm. Hey now, you're a worm star, get your game on, go blast. Hey now, you're a worm star, get the lag on, lose FPS. And all that glitters is worm, only GGG can break the worm. It's a worm place and they say it gets colder. You're wormed up now, wait till you get older. But the worm ain't painted before. Judging by the worm in the satellite picture. The worm we blast is getting pretty thick. The worm's getting warm so you might as well squirm. My worm is on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it and I'll never get bored. Wait till you get older. But the worm ain't baked before. Judging by the worm in the satellite picture. The worm we blast is getting pretty thick. The worm's getting warm so you might as well squirm. My worm is on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it and I'll never get bored. Somebody once told me the worm is gonna worm me.
So for the main mechanics of the build, we use an attack skill to trigger your Ascendancy chant to spawn the skeletons. I found Galvanic Arrow to be the best attack to do that. You can try some other things if you want, but seems to work the best. I tried Rain of Arrows and Caustic Arrow, but this one is the most effective slash responsive of all of them, because Rain of Arrows has a delay. Caustic Arrow also has a delay if you attack from far away. So this one is the fastest for sure. Make sure none of your worms die and you lose DPS. So Ascendancy chant spawns 4 skeletons, and then because of your belt, the skeletons will drink your worm flasks, making a bunch of worms spawn like that. You attack, see it spawns a bunch of worms, and then when you kill them using Galvanic Arrow, because you're using Null's Inclination, it triggers selected minion spells on kill with this weapon. And you have 2 dark packs in here. They both on separate cooldowns. They both work, so it does a bunch of dark packs, like 3 billion of them. Actually like 300, but you know. Because of you're chaining it a bunch of times. So you kill 40, trigger 80, then it chains 4 times or something. Give you 320 hits, and then when you're doing 320 hits of something, it's a lot of damage, like 100 million potentially, or more, depending on your gear. Also, every time you kill the worms, you get your every charge, either from getting the mod on your amulet to gain charge, or you can anoint overcharged if you're on more of a budget. You also gain onslaught on kill. You'll link that with your Galvanic Arrow. And you get phasing on kill if you use a Abyss Jewel or something. If you want, you can swap out your gloves at the start of map to kill your worms to gain Rampage. Using Rampage gloves like Flesh and Spirit, I think, and Shadows and Dust or something is the other one. Something like that. You swap that, and swap these back in, and then you're good to go. You have Rampage. Rampage gives you a ton more damage. It's like 1% more damage every 10 stacks or something. I don't know. I personally don't do it. I'm too lazy, and you have enough damage and speed without it, so yeah. So for the flasks, you're going to want to get the reduced flask charges harvest craft on it, and you're going to want to get the most reduced charges used mod divined on it as well. So you can use it a bunch of times without just running out of flask charges very quickly. Gives you a lot more you can use. So the way you sustain flask charges with this, because you can see they're regenning in hideout even though I'm not killing anything. So what you do is take the Rice Latha, Minor God in the Pantheon, and you get 3 life flask charges every 3 seconds. Also you get jewels, which have Mender's Wellspring on it, which gives you another 1% every, or 1 charge every 3 seconds. You get a few of those. I only have 2 in right now. You can get up to 4, I think. 2? I don't know. Yeah, you can get up to 4. Because I'd ideally have 1 here as well, 1 here as well, so you'd have 4. I'm only using 2, and it's still more than enough recharge, especially in normal maps. Normal maps, you don't really need any, because you'll regen them all off mobs, but for bossing, it's still more than enough to have that many, because I mean, you're one-shotting anyways, but ideally you'd have 4 of those on your medium cluster jewels. You'll get flask charge from this as well, because it's also a mana flask, because it's a hybrid flask. So you're gaining another one every 3 seconds here. If you really want to, you can get it a +1 charge every few seconds on your chest piece too, but it's really not worth it because you have to Maven Orb a life recovery Warlords thing, and it's not worth it. You're better off just getting a better chest with other good stats. So fully going over the gear, Ascendancy Chant, which is required. And you have the belt, spawn the worms from your minions, obviously required. Gloves, Hands of the High Templar, and you're trying to look for mainly max frenzy charges, spare and hit, spell crit, and you can get like attack speed and life, other stuff. If you don't want to use these and you're on more of a budget, you can switch these out for Melgaro's Virtuosity before like you have enough skill points to get a bunch of crit multi, because this build is kind of taxing on skill points, and I'm still missing a ton. I actually won, and I'm level 92 already, and early on it's really rough, so that's a good option. Either one works really. And then if you do that, you either have to have the corruption, or you can get a ring with the spare on hit, which is what I had before, but now it's on here. Those inclination obviously required, that's how you're triggering your dark packs. Yep. Rings, get an Assassin's Mark ring, ton of decks. Get spell damage or crit multi if you can. Just get res life. Meeting your stat requirements is quite difficult as well, because this has a ton. If you can get a reduced attributes required, I think you have to chance that though. I'm not sure how you would go about getting that, but I don't know if you can actually find it from Heist, or you have to chance it by chancing a ranger bow with it from Heist, but you're probably not going to buy one. You probably don't want to advantage the time to get one, like I didn't. So I just got an AoE enchant instead. Then Amulet, you want to get plus Chaos, plus Int Gems. Onyx Amulet, that's pretty cheap if you're in softcore trade, and if you're playing this, you're probably in softcore trade. I'll go over the price of everything after. Vermilion Ring. This ring is really bad. I mean, it's not, but it is for softcore trade. It's like in Exalt. You just get a bunch of dex, life, res. Just trying to meet your attribute requirements. For the quiver, you just want to get any quiver with life and dex on it. Ideally a rare would be better, but you just want the skills chain +1 time implicit. For the boots, you're going to want the 80% chance to avoid being stunned if you've killed recently enchant, because you don't have much of an EHP pool, so you're going to get stunned a lot. And then you get this, and then you get like 2 jewels with stun avoidance on it or something, some other way to cap your stun avoidance. And then you can't be stunned, it's a huge quality of life bonus. And then you're gonna want, ideally I wouldn't actually have life on these boots, I'd just have movement speed and the chance to gain a loose one crit strike, and then you craft freeze immunity because you're using 5 worm flasks, so you're not gonna have freeze immunity unless you go ailment immune, which I'll touch on that later. But you want a loose one crit strike, movement speed, then a bunch of res and or dex if you need it still. Then you craft Cannot Be Frozen. Chest piece. I just grabbed a random chest piece that was quite cheap. Cover, energy shield, or life on kill are good because, you know, you're killing 40 worms. And then you recover a bunch of EHP also. I forgot to mention that, so I'll get to the jewels in a second after this. Yeah, I guess. So for the jewels, I already went over these ones. You want fasting and Mender's Wellspring, 4 of those. Because you have no Quicksilver Flask either, so you get a bunch of movement speed from fasting. And then, you know, you run pretty fast for having no flasks. So then, for what you're gonna get is 2 small cluster jewels, 2 passives, and then you're gonna want Brush with Death. What it does is recovers 1% of life on kill and 1% of ES on kill. So you're spawning 40 worms every attack, so that's 40 kills. So you're recovering 80% of your life and 80% of your shield every time you attack, so that is quite large. Other jewels you're gonna want is a minion life jewel. You get Blessed from Rebirth and Life from Death. Blessed Rebirth makes it so your skeletons can't be killed by any other mobs, so you don't lose any damage. And you also get minions recover 4% of life on minion death. This makes it so they recover life and they don't just die instantly from, you know, attacking, because Dark Pack removes their life, so it lets them live a little bit longer, get a few more Dark Packs off. And then this one, effect of your curses, you get Master Fear, Unnerved, makes you do more damage. Wish for Death gives you Culling Strike. You're gonna want to use Voices. 5 passives are fine. Obviously you can get better ones, worse ones. 7 sockets are like nothing, 5 sockets are like 3 exalts or something. 3 are a lot, and then 1 are really a lot. 5s are fine even if you don't want to use voices. If you're like really on a budget, you can use large chaos cluster jewels instead. You can really do this build on a budget compared to how much it actually needs to cost. So you can get it going for probably like 15 to 20x. And should be still good, but it's incredibly scalable. So jewels, you're gonna want a Watcher's Eye with crit multi and precision, and there's some other good things you can get if you can find them. Yeah. Other jewel you'll want is Transcendent Flash. Gives you a bunch of crit multi. This is a crit build. You're gonna want Glorious Vanity. This one's large. You get Glorious Vanity, and you want to get Corrupted Soul. And then the reason you do this is it gives you a bunch more EHP, and since you're recovering both energy shield and life on kill, it's very effective and scales efficiently. With this, you're going to want to get Rituals of Shadows on your Glorious Vanity, and since we're hitting a bunch of times every time we attack, you instantly pretty much hit the withered cap, because it can be afflicted up to 15 times, so that gives you a ton more damage, basically like 100% increased damage, not more, but increased. And yeah, that's it for the jewels. Another thing you're going to want for your ring is you're going to want cold damage to spells, so you can shatter things, because if you don't have that, you're going to die to porcupines like every time you hit a pack, like I am right now, because I'm too lazy and I don't care enough to get the cold damage on it. But ideally you get that if you're like really trying to make the build. So the links you're going to want is you're going to want in your Null's Inclination, you want 2 Divergent Dark Packs. The reason you need Divergent is it covers the minion's life on hit, so they also continue to be able to use more Dark Packs and they don't just die and you lose DPS, similar to the Jewel that I explained earlier. Then you link it with Awakened Added Chaos Damage Support. Level 6-1 in softcore trade is, I think I bought this for like 3x or something. So, very cheap. Actually, I'm just going to go over the price of everything at the end, so after I finish going over all the gear. Awakened Void Manipulation, Controlled Distraction, Awakened AoE. I mean, ideally you just get Awakened anything you can. Then your helmet, you link Summon Skeletons, Empower. You can get Empower, so you get an extra Summon Skeleton. Link of Minion Life, and Feeding Frenzy Support. In your chest, you link Enlighten Support with your auras, which is Skitterbots, Zealotry, and Precision. Then I have Cast on Death and Portal, because when in Rome, makes it a lot easier when you die. And my gear is scuffed, and I've scuffed it because I don't care enough about actually building it out. There'll be a PB and a guide in the description with better gear. Galvanic Arrows links to faster projectiles onslaught and increased AoE, just to make sure you kill all the worms. Then in my boots I have Divergent Dash to get phasing. You don't need this. It's more expensive than it's probably worth, because you can just get a Jewel with phasing on kill or something. Linked with Second Wind, Arcane Surge, and Righteous Fire. If you want, you can sustain Righteous Fire, because in maps, you know, every time you attack, you basically regen your full HP bar, so you do that, you get like a 40% more damage bonus. And then pop all Righteous Fire on bosses. I mean, you really don't need this just for clearing, but you can pop it for bosses too, or whatever you want to do. But you're gonna one-shot pretty much anything anyways, so. Yeah. So, I guess I'll go over the price of everything. The jewels you can expect to pay 3 to 5x per, though you can roll them yourself relatively easily. It's like 500 alts maybe on average, which really isn't too bad. A budget option would be you just ditch the Mender's Wellspring. Like I said, mainly in my case it's too lazy. I'm too lazy to buy them or roll them myself, and there wasn't that many for sale, but I only have 2 Mender's Wellsprings and I regen just fine, and the rest you can just get fasting for movement speed and it works out just fine. Another thing you can look for is Megalomaniacs. If you're in softcore trade, obviously most of you are going to be pretty much all of you. First build, you can look for one that's good, and this one's not very good, but you know, Could find a good one with fasting or mender as well. Spring on it. The jewel, I mean, it's easy to roll. Costs literally nothing. You can do this yourself really easily. That was like 4C. This one was a couple exalts. This one probably a bit harder to get. Maybe no. I don't remember this one. Here, Master of Death, Witch for Death. This one's gonna be expensive. I'm not sure the cost on average, but expensive. Definitely not required though. Here's another one. Couple exalts. Brush from Death. And this wasn't that expensive either. It's a 1-statter. Transcendent Flesh. It's like 10x. Glorious Vanity. I don't remember what this is. I can't imagine it's much though. Like 1 exalt maybe. Maybe even less. But to get it to actually have Ritual of Shadows, it's gonna be probably either, unless you can get lucky and find the exact number for sale, probably costs you quite a few divines to actually get it, but once again, that's not really required. Null's Inclination price, 6 linked. I think right now Faded Connections is 2.5 exalts, so at maximum you should be paying that for this. It's probably less if you buy it outright. This I think was 1 exalt, not with the enchant, but you don't need the enchant really doesn't matter. So I think alone, without the enchant, it's 1 exalt. This costed me 20x. It is crafted on your own. I think I don't exactly know how you craft it. It's in the guide somewhere, that'll be linked. But, like I said, this is a softcore trade build. You can just buy literally all this gear. It's probably not even worth crafting most of it yourself, like these jewels. So you just make sure you have the +2 levels on it. And then you anoint Infused. Or you anoint Overcharged if you don't have the charge mod on it. The quiver. Just find any quiver with plus chain, shouldn't be too expensive. Or you can just buy a bunch and evolve them yourself and use Essences of Sorrow, I believe is the dex one, and just evolve a bunch of them, should not be too expensive. This ring was 1 exalt, not good. You can find a much better ring, such as with Cold Dispels or Crit Multi or something. This was 5 exalts, 3 to 5. Not the ideal chest, but really you just want spell crit and then either life or ES. And then you craft gain maximum life as a max energy shield. And then this ring, oh, this ring was kind of expensive, I think. I think this was like 10x for the Assassin's Mark dex and spell damage. I'm not sure though. Might have been, definitely wasn't more than 10x, might have been less, I'm not sure. These gloves, I think I paid 8 exalts. You can probably get a similar pair for a lot less if you just drop one of the mods. This belt's literally nothing, 'cause nobody uses it. The boots are like, I don't know, 10x maximum. Because remember, you're not even looking for a life roll on it, because you need to craft the immunity to freezes. So if you're gonna buy the flasks pre-enchanted, they're gonna cost you a couple exalts, but honestly you can find it yourself in Harvest or try and buy them for 20C alone on the stupid trading Discord. But should not be too hard to actually get the enchant yourself. Or you can pay a couple exalts for ease, or you can try and wait around for someone to sell you the enchant directly for like 20C they look like they're going for. Okay, so Ascendancy. First thing I went was Void Beacon into Withering Presence, and then you go Malediction, and then I went this last. Depends how early you get 2 curses though, you should probably go Malediction before this, but yeah. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's what I did. Leveling, to level this you can't level this build, you're gonna have to level something else. I did Armageddon Brand and Cremation, and then you probably go Elementalist if you have the refund points. Like, if you have a bunch of regrets already, like this is not a league starter, you should just go a different build altogether and then respec after, because you're gonna get absolutely nothing from this while you're leveling. So bandits, you kill all. Pantheons, I kind of went over it, but I didn't really bother upgrading them. But since you're not element immune and you're only freeze immune, you can go Brine King and then get the reduced effective chill, because you could still get chilled, just not frozen. You can go this one as well if you want the spell dodge. Dodge is pretty important. Yeah, I mean, you can go this too for the reduced effective shock because you're not ailment immune. Really, it's up to personal preference. You just have to go right slot though. I don't think I'm really missing anything important. Probably missing something, but nothing huge. So in total, all my gear is like around 80 to 100 exalts right now. Like I said, a lot of this is not necessary to get the build going. You can get it going for like 20. I think that is about it. I guess I can talk about how I'm pretty sure with just a few tweaks, this build could go from being relatively squishy to basic, with it only relying on you regenning a bunch and having basically no other defense, to being into like an unkillable hardcore build that certainly will be blasted into dust. I mean, this will be blasted into dust probably next league, honestly. Anyways, or the league after, as soon as they catch wind, because they do not like worm blasters. But what I'm thinking is you go like Ascendant. I'm not really sure which Ascendancy is. There's a few options for Ascendancies you'd go on Ascendant, but I'm thinking you go like Occultist for the additional curse, and then a few things you could go. You could go Pathfinder or Raider. I think would be the two best. Probably Pathfinder or Raider. Raider's probably the best. Pathfinder maybe more on a budget. Things to make it more hardcore. I mean, you can drop 2 of these flasks and you're still doing like a 60 million DPS or something stupid. You don't need all 5, so what you do is you drop those 2 and then you go like a Quicksilver and a Basalt Flask or something, because you have no physical mitigation really other than your endurance charges, so you're just gonna fall over. So you can do that. And then you might even be able to drop 3 and you're still doing plenty of damage for hardcore purposes. And if you focus more on getting life, you can probably get up to like 10k HP. So that way, every time you attack, you're regenerating 8,000 EHP effectively, or more if you have it on your chest. Like, I'll completely recover my energy shield because of this chest. Other things I'd probably do is instead of crafting, well, I'd have a completely different chest with ailment immunity, and I'd try and go ailment immune. Whether it be you get ailment immunity on this, you can manage to get it on your boots too, and you could go a rare pair of gloves instead. Oh, not on your boots. You could get it on your, or you could get it on your boots. You'd have to go shaper though, and drop the elusive because you're not going to get that realistically. So you go ailment immune on your gloves, chest, and boots, and that brings you to like what? You can get 35 on your boots, 35 here, and then 25 here, so 95. So you could Maven Orb the ailment immunity on the boots to cap yourself, or what you could do is drop this Annoyant and like Annoyant Crystal Skin or something to cap until you get the Maven Orb on your boots. And you can also, if you're going Raider, path over to Acrobatics and Phase Acrobatics, and you could probably get the builds like nearly unkillable, if not unkillable. I'm sure with more thought into it, it would be literally immortal unless you just stand still and do nothing. Yeah, I'll probably make a build on that if the build isn't completely blasted in 2 seconds by GGG, which probably will, so that'll probably never happen, but might happen. And I really playing a lot. You could probably pull it off in Essence F2. So most of the gear is attainable. You just drop this for a Vigil, and then you get Fortified too. Because you have a lot of wiggle room on how much damage you lose, because you're really doing an insane amount of damage. And then you drop some more damage nodes for more life and stuff. And should be like insanely tanky. Yeah, that's about it for now.